Hey guys, well, welcome to part 2 of my interview here with Rory for Relationship Month. And for those that haven't seen the previous video, please go check it out. Rory is my personal mentor and coach when it comes to relationships. And anybody who's spent 3 decades of their life passionately pursuing one subject is worth listening to if you want to master that subject. If there's one subject you want to master, it has to be how to really take on and own yourself when it comes to intimate, beautiful relationships. How do you create that? And it's such a source of frustration. So what I want to do here this time, Rory, on if we can, is give some practical advice to people watching. What could some of the first steps that you could take be when you're looking at improving your own relationship? Because I know that so many people just don't have a roadmap for how to do that. We're guessing at best, we're getting frustrated at worst. And if I was in a relationship right now, what were some of the things that I could actually do that could enhance that experience for me in a relationship?
So I'm gonna rewrite your question as kind of like, what would be the low-hanging fruit that if you were to take some actions would go a long way?
Absolutely.
Easy wins.
There you go. Easy wins.
I think the first thing to understand is that we're having a relationship with the nervous system of another human being.
We're having a relationship with the nervous system of another human. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is we react and are triggered by both positive and negative by various things. So for a simple example is I like a clean kitchen at the end of the day. It's kind of simple, but it's just the way I'm wired. So my partner, my wife now, Hannah, understands that. So whereas before she might have left things around or maybe not in the morning, now she's actually Rory prefers it in the evening. So it's kind of understanding taking the time to look at what does your partner like that keeps them not easily irritable.
From being triggered.
Keeps them from being triggered, keeps them in a high resource state. Maybe the man needs 15 minutes when they get home at the end of the day just to make that transition from work to being a husband and a father. I just need to go and take my suit up and bring that 15 minutes, for example. Maybe it's breakfast in bed on a Saturday morning because mom's been looking after the kids all week. And actually it's like that hour of sacred time where they get to do whatever they want to do. To know what those things are and to make them important. Not like it does anything particular other than it keeps wells high. It's also just a foundation of respect. I have some needs. I have some things that keep me resourceful and less irritable. And it's the same for everyone. So just to really understand that we're having a relationship with the nervous system of someone, and someone's having a relationship with your nervous system, and to recognize some of the things that they do and don't like that actually makes them happy, and enjoy doing those things because it's a privilege to be in relationship with someone, and just the opportunity to, and then we'll say, if you see an animal that maybe looks really thirsty and the bowl is empty, you want to put water in the bowl. There's an empathic desire. If you see someone suffering or an animal suffering, or see an animal caught in something on a fence, you immediately want to go and free them so they can go and do their thing. And the internet and Facebook is full of beautiful little videos of people helping people out. Well, we should feel the same way about our partners. And it's like, do no harm. As a fundamental value, do no harm. And second, the low-hanging fruit is do the things you know your partner appreciates or fills them up. And they're typically not complicated,
Some common examples?
How people get greeted, like greetings are important. It's identifying what that when you pay attention, what that they like or what they prefer.
And part of that as well, I think, is that your partner is noticing that you're paying attention. Because I guess what everybody's really seeking when it comes to relationship is a feeling of either significance or acceptance or feeling validated or approved of or wanted. And if everybody's too caught up in being busy about trying to get something from somebody else as a result of that, because they're feeling empty for whatever reason, then if everybody's walking around feeling empty trying to get something from somebody else, you're never really going to have that sense of fulfillment. Whereas if you stop for a second and take your focus and energy and attention off your own needs and wants and start to ask yourself a question: what does my partner really want? What would light them up? What would make them feel as if they know I'm paying attention, that they're important to me in my life? You can change the energetic dynamics very quickly rather than complaining about what they're not doing for you.
Beautiful. And we're not talking about holidays and gifts. We're talking about the day-to-day things. Like if your partner likes a warm beverage, a hot tea or a coffee or whatever, find out how they like it and do it that way. Don't be clumsy about it. It's just that day-to-day respect and consideration and willingness, because deep down our deepest yearning is to be seen, to be heard, and to be made welcome. And we can see our partners and hear our partners and make them feel welcome by these very simple acts. And it's just, on one level, it's just common courtesy and manners and respect and kindness. It's kindness. Now, relationships get turbulent, they get tumultuous. Over time, we can take things for granted, but I think as a fundamental practice and discipline, caring about those simple day-to-day things and prioritizing them, it's the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, and that's not to say that holidays and gifts aren't great.
They have their place.
Yeah, they have their place, but if you're using hang on a minute, I've just been and got this or done this for you as an excuse for not really doing the basics, then it's not going to fly in most relationships, or it's going to get worn out very quickly. And so, I think the fundamentals, making somebody, as you say, feel seen, heard, and welcome in the context of you relating to each other is a primary foundation for that. And it only takes attention, it only takes you taking attention off of yourself for a moment and just putting it on somebody else. And if that person then isn't going to reciprocate at some whatever level, then that's their journey, that's their choice, and maybe that's the lesson you need at that point. It's not about getting into a horse trade. It's about you doing the best that you can do to be the best expression of yourself in context of that relationship.
Perfect. I'll give you an example. You asked for an example. Let's say something simple like somebody likes to walk in nature, maybe once a week. That if they don't get to go for a walk in a park, or if they don't get to go for a hike, even just somewhere short, that something feels off inside them. There's not quite in balance. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe something about doing yoga once a week helps ground them. It helps settle them. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's being able to spend time talking to their sister. Not just a quick call, but actually like a good half an hour call.
Whatever their thing
on a couch, whatever the thing is that keeps them grounded, keeps them balanced. If you're not showing willingness for that, it's like, oh, sorry, honey, no, I can't look after the boys. You can't have yoga tonight. You do that for a few months, it's not good, and it goes in both directions. So that's kind of the example. It's these things that fill us up on a very simple level, like the water and the oxygen and the weekly yoga and the walk in nature. Or booking a weekend away. Some people like to travel, booking a weekend away every 2 or 3 months. Like if that isn't in the diary, there's something about this like a little antsy. Or maybe it's culture. Some people love live music. Some people need some live music regularly. And to know that about your partner. So.
And do you suggest, obviously open the conversation, or do you suggest creating a list, or a list of what you actually like for yourself would be a good place to start? Because if you don't know yourself in the mirror, then it's hard to be able to then try to look for those things in your partner, I guess.
Well, we live in a society that's on the back of a world where women, in particular, their wants and needs weren't particularly cared for, if at all.
For many years in human history.
Yeah, and that women have very, very committed to serving others and taking care of others, and they see what other people need very much, and often find it difficult to know what they want for themselves. So knowing what you want and knowing what keeps you grounded and settled and in yourself, that's the first step. For some people, it's actually quite difficult. but it's important. Because actually we do have this nervous system that we're like a battery, like you've told us before. Like we fill up and we discharge. And in a similar way, our nervous system, our ability to be patient, our ability to be forgiving, our ability to be understanding, our capacity for understanding can be greatly reduced without, you know, the classic, you know, some people get really cranky if they haven't eaten any food for 4 hours. Hangry, yeah, exactly. And that's a classic one. Or sleep. So sleep and food are classics. Then we can add sort of fresh air and nature. We can add exercise. We can add quiet time. Like, I can, you know, be in action and I can be talking to people and with people, but I like pretty much everyone. I need to be able to switch off and spend time on my own and just ground myself and recharge so I can go back into being a social, conversational person. So these things, like knowing, I have some friends, and every Saturday morning he takes care of the child, and she has this time where she gets to do either yoga or bathe or whatever just for her stuff. And it's a really important filling up her battery and filling up her well. Now, it's not a fixed rule. It doesn't have to be every week, otherwise it's a meltdown. It's just that's the understanding, that's the commitment, and it's a win-win. Father gets to spend some quality time with child, mother gets to recharge her batteries after doing so much mothering all week. It sounds so basic.
You said it's about respect.
Yeah.
On there, and not imposing your own model of the world onto somebody else and expect them, you know, to do anything other than what you want them to do.
It's relating as an invitation, not a demand.
Oh, beautiful. Any last tip you want to throw out before we close out today? Anything else somebody can do, or anything that's a question they could ask or a phrase they could use that may be useful in the context of next time something crops up, or next time they need to remind themselves about something that would add value to their relationship?
I think in line with this, it's really, what does my partner need right now? Just what does my partner need right now?
Takes the focus directly off you.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting thing to consider, that you're having a relationship with the nervous system. There's your partner, there's their words, there's their goals and their dreams and their past and their future, and there's this multifaceted person. But inside is a nervous system that is beyond their control.
That's constantly reacting to either fear or love. Yeah, cortisol or oxytocin, all different triggers. Yeah.
So a really simple example is some people really struggle with raised voices.
Right.
From their past, from their thing. Now, if I was speaking to them, I would say that there is a part of their journey which is to transform their relationship to anger and raise voices, and to have a healthy relationship to anger and frustration and raise voices. But to the person that's dealing with that person, is to really recognize if you raise your voice to express your frustration, there's something in there called, okay, my partner doesn't need that, doesn't like that. Okay, so I've got to practice saying, I'm getting frustrated now. Can I please explain myself to you? Wow, you know, like, sample sentences. Having the willingness to have a relationship with your partner in such a way that you're minimizing the impact and the depletion of their wells. Because life is chaotic enough, you know. The next breakdown is not too far away. So let's have our full up wells so that we can face the next piece of the puzzle and do it with our best selves. Yeah.
And I know your time's limited today, Rory. I really appreciate you coming up.
Thank you so much.
You know, and there's such a depth of backstory to so much about what you say, which I love, you know, to be able to share with the people here, which we just don't have time for. I do know that you've been working on an incredible book that's going to be summing a lot of this up.
Yep.
And as soon as that's out, and I have my signed copy, I'll be sharing that with all of my fans and people that subscribe into my world. And
I look forward to that.
I wish you the very best. I mean, the journey I've seen you take over the last 10, 15 years of knowing you has been incredible. And singing your song the way you do is helping so many people. I've seen this man turn around so many crises in relationships, not by trying to solve or make right or wrong, which is a traditional pathway for a lot of counselors, but really through transcending the limitations that cause those breakdowns, to be able to see the growth in that so that the people can evolve. Yeah, and they can actually rise out of that quagmire rather than just have new tools on how to deal with it, which nobody needs. Okay, it'll solve the short-term pain. It doesn't solve the reason it was painful in the first place or why it showed up. And that has a huge amount of benefit. And Rory's a master at being able to really bring that to the table. So thank you again, my friend. You're an
such a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Such a pleasure.
And I wish everybody well on their journey for relationships, and see you guys on the next video.
Best of luck.